So the right-handed hitting Kalesa stands in against Farinelli, who checks the pitch card on his arm to see what Santini is called, and deals the first one, just wide for ball 1. Santini called a marvelous game in game 1 for Sullivan. Had the St. Thomas hitters off balance all the way through. Farinelli trying to repeat the feat. The 1-0 is swung on and missed. Just disappeared down into the glove of Santini. The 1-1. Chop foul at the plate. It's a steady diet of mixing of pitches for Sullivan in game 1, and already we've seen Farinelli go to that off speed a couple times.
But his fastball has some heat, and if he wants to keep throwing that, if he needs to get that inside, put some pressure on Sam Kalesa here, Kalesa's going to be looking for that off-speed pitch. Farinelli needs to answer with a fastball.
That's off speed again instead, and he chops it foul. Did have enough to keep him off bounce, but I think you're right, Matthew. Sure looked like he was looking for it. Checking that forearm once again. And the 1-2. Line towards third, played on a hop by DeLeese. Plenty of time, and he gets it across for out number 1. So Kalesa squared it up, but DeLeese was ready at the hot corner. And there's one away now for Voyevich, as we see the play from DeLeese one more time.
Good heads-up play from DeLeese. Northwestern has had a problem in the past fielding. In the first game, we didn't see that. A lot of the reason for that was St. Thomas just didn't put the bat to the ball. But if Northwestern can play like that, they're going to have a very successful season. They really need to turn around the way they've started. And if they can do that here against St. Thomas, pick up 2 wins off some good fielding, Coach Josh Reynolds will be very happy.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 11 strikeouts for Sullivan in game 1. Only 10 outs that leaves recorded in the field. A little quick math there. So not as many defensive chances, like you mentioned, Matthew. I think that's a great point. As after the off-balance swing for strike 1, Voyevich readies for the 0-1. Pulls the bunt back. We had some issues with pulling the bunt back in game 1. Voyevich actually in the first inning of that game was called on not pulling the bunt back when it looked like he did. And then later in the game, we had a hit by pitch that was voided for not pulling the bat back. It's just the little things. Sometimes they can trip you up. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Big off speed right there. And once again, Farinelli is ahead.
Yeah, right down the middle, but off speed. Ben Voyevich just not quite connecting with that ball the way he wanted to. Farinelli has a good arsenal of off-speed pitches, of fastballs.
And that's fastballs fouled back. We've seen the fastball changeup worked to strong effect so far. I don't think we've seen a breaking ball just yet, but the fastball changeup is enough if the changeup is working off that fastball. One and two once again for Farinelli. Santini sets up right down the middle. And the pitch is outside. Ben Voyevich, 0 for 3 in game number 1. Struck out looking and swinging. Had a fielder's choice to end the third. And he awaits the 2-2. Did not offer. Able to hold up on what looked like another changeup. Ended up wide. You can see he definitely held it up. Trying to get some base runners on. Just one walk last game for St. Thomas. Sullivan had it being out of his hand. The 3-2. Grounded foul. Voyevich already with the deepest at bat we've seen today from Matami's hitter. 8th pitch coming up next.
He's really just grinding in there, trying to connect on every single pitch, trying to put some pressure on Farinelli. Sean Sullivan got out of the first inning rather quickly. Michael Farinelli, at the moment, doesn't look like it's going to be as easy.
11 pitch first inning for Sullivan last game. 11th pitch of the inning coming here from Farinelli. The 3-2. Grounded towards second. Bianchina is there. Makes the play on 3 hops. And this out is retired. Nice hustle from Voyevich, but he couldn't quite beat it out. 2 up, 2 down for Halverson. Kyle Halverson came into this game, as we see that ground out one more time, as the only player on St. Thomas with more walks than strikeouts. A patient hitter, though he did strike out once in game 1. Swing and a miss. There's the breaking ball. 0-1.
Kyle Halverson has some history in this program, Noah. Both his parents went to St. Thomas. His brother went to St. Thomas.
He swings and misses. Down and in. The pitch mix coming in hot for Farinelli so far. There's a great history of baseball here at St. Thomas, and we talked about it a lot in game 1. Division III runner-ups last season. It's a team that's constantly competed at the top of Division III baseball. As that one just misses wide. And this year, of course, making that unprecedented jump straight from D3 to D1. Hand forced by the MEAC, who said, look, you guys are just too good. That's seriously what it was. They wanted to promote more competition amongst all the sports in their conference, and St. Thomas kind of dominated. 1-2. Down in the dirt. And that's what allowed the NCAA to grant them the waiver that they needed to compete at the D1 level. We talked to Coach O'Lean, who's got a huge task in front of him. He said, our roster's 60% D3, but we're competing right now. We just need to get over that hump. First game, bit of a step back in that regard, but hoping to come out strong here in game 2. 2-2 to Halverson. Takes low, and once again, Tommy has worked the count full.
And it's very difficult. It's a different style of recruiting from D3 to D1, a different caliber of player that you want to pick up. And this change, as you said, we see players make the jump from D3 to D1 all the time. We have never seen a program move all of their varsity sports up from the D3 to the D1 level, and especially not in 1 year. Again, they'll have provisional status for a couple of years as we see Halverson take the walk. Provisional status up until 25-26 when they'll be allowed to be in the playoffs. We'll see how they'll do this year. I have a feeling that they'll struggle. But again, they're writing the history books.
Absolutely. And the Summer League, a very strong league. You know, not just for sports like football and basketball, what it's a little bit more known for, but a strong league in baseball as well. So it's not going to be easy for them to make waves in that conference. But look, like you said, it's about getting there. So the full count walk worked by Halverson. Now comes the big cleanup man, Bartholomew. And he takes low. The lone hitter coming into today within the starting lineup to be hitting above 233. Bartholomew was 0 for in game 1, brought that average down to 333. But the catcher and now first baseman in this game getting a chance with the runner on. Halverson leading off first. The 1-0. Down low. And all of a sudden, that's 5 straight balls for Michael Farinelli.
Yeah, it looks like Farinelli's just lost a bit of his plate here. I'm not sure what changed in between the first 2 batteries and then Kyle Halverson, now Charlie Bartholomew coming up. But Bartholomew didn't have a great first game whatsoever. Came into that one with 4 straight games of 2 hits apiece and just completely struggled against the speed that Sean Sullivan was bringing.
That's absolutely right. But he's now got a 3-0 count. 343 career hitter at the D3 level. All conference a couple of times. Trying to make his name and his presence felt at the D1 level here. The 3-0, right down the pipe. Farinelli gets back in the strike count. So Halverson at first, 2 away. 3-1 pitch coming up. Halverson, a candidate to run. He's 2 for 2 this year. Grounder to first. Fielded on a hop by Rustich, and that'll retire the side. So 3 ground outs recorded for Farinelli. Works around the 2-out walk, and we're headed to the bottom of the first. Scoreless here at Evanston. Calarco stands in and tips the first pitch into the glove and then out of the glove for a foul ball. Mixed bag first game for Calarco, went 1 for 4, couple strikeouts, grounded into a double play, and doubled and scored in the 3rd inning.
And he also looked like he might have picked up a bit of a knock there, but ran it off that double. And luckily for Northwestern, one of their best players, one of their most storied players on this roster, able to play in this one.
Clarko, as you see, brought that average down to 298 as he takes the breaking ball strike. He is a pro prospect. We're talking about a first-team All-Big Ten player last year. Northwestern has had 5 players drafted in the past 3 seasons. Clarko looking to become that 6th as he takes down and in, evening the count at 2. Trying to put together a strong senior season here. As he gets ready for the 2-2. Retz has had a great season so far for the Tommies as their second starter. As he gets a pop-up out of Clarko. Into shallow center field goes Kalesa. He dropped one of those in the first game, but makes the play this time. Ten hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, just 7 walks to 14 strikeouts. This one's popped back from Rustich. Not only the 2.12 ERA, but a 1.0 whip. He's been very impressive in his first season in the purple. Working quickly for the 0-1. Chop foul. Just trying to keep these guys off balance. Rustich, who had been struggling this season, had a bit of a bounce back in game 1. Had been hitting 179 coming into that game for the season. Had Rustich as he takes up high.
And just a bit surprising because he played so well in the shortened season that we had last year. Rustich with 11 home runs, tied for 5th overall in the Big Ten. Keep in mind that that was tied for the 7th highest total in Northwestern history with only half the games of the normal season. As he pops that one foul. He came into the game this morning earlier, as you said, 179 average. Just not hitting as well as Coach Josh Reynolds would have wanted.
1 for 3 with a walk. Also doubled in that game 1. And he's fighting here with the 1-2. Takes strike 3, just froze him. Breaking ball right over the heart of the plate. Out number 2, Ethan O'Donnell. Biggest surprise in this Northwestern lineup, I think it's safe to say. Takes a breaking ball, first pitch strike. 318 hitter so far this season. Has been a strong presence in the middle of that order. Had his 7th double earlier today. Also flew out to center twice. Just saw the ball really well, all things considered. As he fouls that one off the shin guard of Morris back there.
14 hits in the season for O'Donnell. Last season named to the freshman All-Big Ten. A good presence for Northwestern to put at that 3 spot. Someone that has to hit every single first inning. You talked about it with Andrew in the first game about cleanup. If they don't come, if you're 1-2-3 strikeout, the cleanup hitter's not coming to the plate. Your number 3 hitter will always come to the plate in that first inning, and that is the consistency that Ethan O'Donnell, provides for this Northwestern team.
The issue with that, of course, is that sometimes, as you get right now, you're going to have them going up with 2 out and nobody on. Which is why the push to the 2 spot has been made for a lot of best hitters. As here O'Donnell takes one high and wide, works the count to 2-2. But I digress. Retz has worked from ahead all inning long, trying to close this one out against O'Donnell. And that one is touched foul. 2-2 here. Retz has gone deep into all 3 counts. Wildcats saw a lot of pitches in game 1. They're repeating the feat so far. The 2-2. On the inside corner, strike 3 called, and Retz goes 1-2-3. We head to the second, still scoreless here in Rocky and Bernice Miller Park, and Walker Retz cruising through 1. If we keep that rate up, I will say, Matthew, we're going to have trouble by the end of this game. I think we cannot afford to get 1 camera hit every inning.
Yeah, I think we will be out of cameras by about the 5th inning. This game going to 9, first game only to 7. So we got to hope that both teams keep their bats in the field and not necessarily towards our cameras.
Exactly, as Max Morris steps in and takes the first pitch strike. And the 0-1 from Farinelli. Lined hard towards left, and that'll get down for a base hit in front of Pinkston. First knock of the game for either side.
Farinelli, just great contact, swinging through that one, pulling it to the left field line. Easy single over the third baseman's head as we take a look at that. Just a fastball that Farinelli just left way over the plate. Max Morris, the MEAC Rookie of the Year last year, started all 47 games. Good performance so far in this first game, in the second game with his first at bat.
Second hit of the day for him as Joe Voss steps in. Looking for his first hit of the season. He squares to bunt instead and chops it foul at the plate. Tommy's a team that ran a ton last season, stole the most bases in the MEAC. This year, coming into today, they were 8 for 12 on stolen bases as a team. But they did go 1 for 1 in game 1, so make it 9 for 13. Morris is 2 for 2. Bit fleet of foot for a catcher first baseman. Or more fleet of foot than you would usually expect, I suppose. And Farinelli sees the scouting report, checks over. Now gets ready for the 0-1. Morris is clearly leaning to go over there. Farinelli knows it. Santini making calls behind the plate. No run, and the changeup is just high above the zone to even the count at 1.
Joe Voss came out of Duluth, Minnesota. And again, this is where that move up from D3 to D1 changes things for a lot of these players. Voss was originally committed to Kirkwood Community College. When St. Thomas chose and were forced by the MEAC to move up, he reanalyzed his decision, recommitted to St. Thomas, and he says that his decision may not have gotten there if there wasn't the move up to D1, and it's that level of competition that these players are looking for and that he's getting right now with Michael Farinelli.
It's a great point right there. Farinelli, of course, also former D3 player, but D1 caliber stuff, and he gets the swing and miss right here. Strikeout number 1 for Farinelli on the changeup, and there's 1 away for Richards. Another look at this nasty little pitch from Farinelli. Had Voss way out in front.
Designated hitter, number 5, Briggs Richards.
So Richards, once again, the DH. Check over was pretty close, but able to slide in was Morris over at first. Another thing that's interesting, you mentioned it with Voss, you know, a Minnesota native. For the longest time, Minnesota was the biggest state in terms of population to only have 1 D1 school, of course, University of Minnesota. And now that's starting to change, and we'll see that change for a lot of those Minnesota players, as this one's flied straight away center field. Can of corn out there for O'Donnell, and he puts it away for out number 2.
The St. Thomas just becomes a lot more attractive, a very good option for these players who wanted to stay in-state, had the talent to play at the D1 level. And when Minnesota's roster is full before St. Thomas joined the Summit League, that was it. You had to go out of state if you wanted to stay at the D1 level. And if you wanted to compete against these top teams. Now with St. Thomas, you have 2 teams, 2 different conferences, and 2 different entire rosters of D1 players that these fans get to see in action.
Pitch is grounded up the middle, ranging over and making the stop, but the flip not in time from Herrera. Nice hustle for Morris up the middle. Herrera might have been better served trying to go to first, but it was a tough play anyways, and an infield single for Avery Laymen.
Very tough play from Herrera. It looked like when he caught the ball, he was on his left foot. So he's leaning out towards the outfield, has to try and flip that one back to B1G.
Yeah, did a good job of keeping it in the infield, though. I think if that gets through to center field, Morris certainly at third. We'll see how much that extra 90 feet makes a difference as Matthew Enck steps in. Saw the ball well in game 1. He had one of the Tommies' 3 hits. He takes on the inside corner, strike 1 here. 2 on, 2 out. Big spot early in this game for Michael Farinelli, trying to keep things scoreless in the second inning. Morris at second, Laymen at first, speed on both bases. Line towards right, but cut off before it got there by B1G. And the play made to first for out number 3. So Farinelli works around some trouble as he gets the ground out with 2 out and 2 on to end the top of the second. Wildcats coming to bat. Thanks to this play by B1G with the score still 0-0. Shears digs into the right-handed batter's box and takes at the bottom of the zone for strike 1. Only 3 batters so far for Rets, but he's been very impressive with his location. A lot of corners hit, and he hits another one right there for strike 2.
Very different showing from Graham Lobsher that we saw in the first game. Lobsher had a very tough time picking out those corners, left a lot of his pitches over the plate, over the middle. That's how we saw Tommy DeLeese hitting his 2 homers. J.C. Santini went yard with one of those as well. And already we've seen the Wildcats struggling to connect because Reds is able to pick out those corners, pushing them inside, pushing them outside.
And that time pushing it a little too far outside for ball 2. So Bashirs works the count even. Reds has gone at least 4 pitches to every Wildcat hitter so far. The 2-2. Popped high on the infield, now drifting to shallow center field. Calling everybody off his Laymen, and it nearly got over his head, but he makes the play for out number 1. Bianchina tries to change that. Takes just off the outside corner. It's already interesting to see with Morris. It's a bit more sharp on some of those catches than what we saw with both, I think, both sides on the catching side in the first game. As that one's hit well to right field, chasing it back a couple of steps is Voss, and he hauls it in a couple feet in front of the track for out number 2. Not very nice, as Pinkston digs in and takes wide for ball 1. Andrew Pinkston making his 5th start of the season. First year has seen the ball very well so far today. No hits in game 1. He takes ball 2. But he did work a walk, sack bunt, hard hit fly out to center. Productive first game. 2-0. That's in there. Saw a lot of early inning Wildcat hesitance in similar situations for much of this season. A little bit less of it last game. The 2-1 to Pinkston is just off the corner. The dreaded Tommy DeLeese waiting on deck. It's got to be the first time that's ever been said. As the 3-1. Ooh, boy, ball 4. Rex wanted that one, but there's a runner on for the big bopper. A lot more sharp movements. DeLeese takes right down the pipe for strike 1. Pinkston leaning off first base. He hasn't gotten many chances to run this year and hasn't tried to do so yet, but he does have speed over there. Quickly 0-2.
That's the one thing that separates this Northwestern top and bottom of their lineup. Their bottom 4 hitters have only attempted to steal once. And that was Patrick Herrera, who's on deck.
Pinkston was jumping over there. Forced Rets to check over. He was trying to time him up, I think. He was ready to go. You know, they say 0-2, one of the best pitches to run on, unless you get a pitch out, of course, because a lot of breaking stuff. And there he goes. Fouled away down the right side and out of play. Count hangs at 0-2. I think Pinkston had that one stolen, but of course DeLeese can't afford to take one on 0-2.
And Pinkston will be running on every single bit of contact from DeLeese with 2 outs.
Right.
0-2 on the count, 1 strike. Sends the Tommies back up to bat.
Well, the benefit of stealing, you draw a middle infielder in. This time he doesn't run, and the grounder goes right to short. So there you go. 6-4 fielder's choice. Ank to Kalesa to retire the side. And once again, a no-hit inning for Rex. We head to the top of the 3rd. No runs, no hits. 1 left for the Wildcats. Tommy's coming to bat for the 3rd time. He gets ready to start off Kalesa. Lined out towards center field off the end of the bat, and that is going to die in front of O'Donnell for the third hit of the game for the Tommies.
Sam Kalesa makes some good contact with the ball. He's a bit unpredictable when he hits. Likes to swing the ball all over the field. That one just out to center field. But last year, Kalesa, a D3 Rawlings Gold Glove, known for his defensive play. Only one error in 181 chances, none so far this season. So,
well, none until today.
None until today.
He did have the error on the tough pop-up back in game 1. But like you said, great defensive player, a lot of speed. As this bunt is going to get down before either Santini or DeLeese could chase it down. DeLeese hearing it a little bit from his dugout as he nearly ran into him. I think that's what the reaction was for. You see again that bat head just dropped, and Voyevich could not get it down. Kalesa, a threat to steal out there at first base, as are most of the Tommies players, to be honest with you. He's 0 for 2 on the season, though, so the Wildcats might want him to try another one. That pick off a little bit behind him. Voyevich sets. DeLeese in on the grass at third. And by grass, I mean the green painted turf, of course.
Definitely makes the gameplay faster.
For
than
sure.
Grass.
And it means that we can play in weather like this. It's a little bit easier to turn it around with the turf. The 0-1. Bunt again. This one's fouled off the glove, and I think he got Santini in the chest protector. So he's going to walk out to the mound. Might have got him a little higher than that, honestly. Grad student shaking it off. Yep, right off the mask. He's going to feel that one tomorrow. No doubt about that. But it is 0-2 on Voyevich. Will they put the bunt on again? You would think probably not, but who knows? What Coach O'Lean is signaling for. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. The changeup does it again. That has really been a fantastic pitch for Farinelli so far.
Big swing, big miss. Farinelli catching Voyevich out there. See, what a beautiful pitch. Just swinging. Big miss, big swing. Farinelli catching him out, knowing that that was what's going to come. Good call from Santini as well.
Yeah, it just drops off the table. I mean, that's a gorgeous pitch when he's got command of it. The command of those pitches is what he struggled with at times this season. You know, keeping them out of the middle of the zone. But when there's as much bite as they've had today, sometimes it doesn't matter if they're in the middle of the zone. Grounded towards third, past DeLeese and fair for Halverson. Coming around second into third is Kalesa. He's going to be held up. Big arm swing and stop right on the bag, and it's a one-out double for Kyle Halverson to put runners at second and third for the big bopper, Charlie Bartholomew.
And it's so tough when that ball just snakes down that third base line. DeLeese was full stretch, forcing Pinkston to come over and get it, but just hugging the line.
And that's what the bunt does for you, right? Because DeLeese had to be in a little further than I think he would have liked to be, even at double play depth, with the bunt always a threat. Corners in now for the Wildcats. In on the green, middle back, playing to concede the run up there. And that one's right on the inside edge against Bartholomew for strike one. So a big chance here for Charlie Bartholomew. 0 for 4 so far today, but he's got 2 in scoring position. And a chance to make it hurt. Chopped. Foul at the plate. Kalesa at third, Halverson at second. Both have pretty good speed. Wildcat outfield is straight up, a little bit pinched in the gaps. About medium depth. As Bartholomew readies for the 0-2. Farinelli, 41st pitch of the day on the way. Swing and a miss. Down in the dirt. That hit the ground. Santini Didn't seem like he realized it for a second, but able to throw it over in time in the end for a big out number 2.
And Santini might not have seen it, but Bartholomew sure did. Swung that bat straight into the ground as he's running over to first, clearly frustrated. Santini able to pick up the ball, throw him out. And now a much tougher situation with 2 outs, with 2 runners on. Doesn't leave you a whole lot of room. Max Morris has some work to do if he wants to put the Tommies up.
Morris singled the first hit of the game for the Tommies, last inning in the second. Takes a first pitch strike here. Farinelli has been first ball fastball just about all the time. But these Tommies hitters, just like last game, most of them not trying to jump on it. Morris a couple hits today. He's been probably the most prolific hitter for the Tommies so far. The catcher takes inside that time. Santini trying to figure out exactly what combination is going to get him the strikeout or any kind of out here. Time called at the plate.
And it's tough for Santini because when these Tommies players are so patient at the plate, eventually they're going to swing for something. So it's how long do you want to tiptoe around with your fastball before you call a breaking ball to try and catch him off.
And there is the breaking ball. Excellent block by Santini. That one was bending away from him too. Really tough play for a catcher, but he got his body out around it and saved a run. That is very difficult to swing your whole body around like that. Santini gets it done and says, calm down, we're all good. I got you back here. As he gets ready for the 2-1. Oh, that's just in. It's been consistent in this game. That corner has been tight. It's gone both ways. As we see that 2-1 pitch again, and it did just miss inside. It's a great catch by Santini, but the ump saw it all the way.
Went from way out to way in. Santini had a chance to frame that one up. Did the ump.
And Brad Snyder calls that one inside as well, and the bases are filled after the 5-pitch walk to Morris. All things considered, probably not the worst outcome for the Wildcats as Joe Voss comes to the plate for just the second time today, still looking for his first hit of the year. Voss so far this season, making his 3rd start of the year, is 0 for 9. He has struck out 5 times, which is not exactly what you're looking for, though in limited at-bats. Another block by Santini, now in a little bit more straightforward. Went to the first pitch changeup that time. Trying to catch Voss off guard. Wildcats straight up in the infield, a little bit swung around to the right. 1-0. Another change, swing and a miss. Why not lean on the changeup when it's been as good as it has been so far today?
Absolutely, and when Voss likes to swing like he does, 55% of his attempts so far this season have been strikeouts. He likes to swing, why not try to catch him off guard with the changeup?
Here's a heater, and it's fouled back. So 1 strike away from getting out of another jam. Farinelli has sort of progressed in terms of his jams. He had a guy on first that he left on in the first inning. He had guys on first and second that he left on in the second inning. Now trying to leave them loaded here in the 3rd. Not exactly a progression you'd like to see continue if you're Josh Reynolds. But we'll see. The 1-2. That's up and out.
He likes to play with fire, Farinelli.
Yeah, no doubt.
Out on the mound. Bases loaded right now. But if he can get out of this one, try to get a little bit more comfortable. You're a 1/3 of the way done out on the mound with your pitches. Already at 50 pitches. Might have a short leash, maybe come off in the 5th or the 6th, depending on how things go.
There he gets it. The swing and the miss. Change up in the dirt. Santini steps on the plate to complete the strikeout. And once again, Farinelli works out of a jam. The Tommies leave him loaded. And with this strikeout, it remains scoreless, headed to the bottom of the 3rd. Patrick Herrera, the only Wildcat to not reach base in Game 1. First-year shortstop tries to change that. And the first pitch misses down. 1-0 from Retz. That catches the knees for strike one. Retz continues to work around the edges of the strike zone. Not afraid to mix it up in there. 238 hitter Herrera takes another strike. He has been very, very patient so far today. At times apparently to his detriment. And he gets ready for the 1-2 here. Lined foul and out of play down the right field line. It's been smooth sailing so far for Retz, but it has cost him 30 pitches to get through the first 2 innings.
His 30 pitches have come just a bit slower than Lobshers did in the first game. One of the quickest college pitchers I think I have ever seen.
Oh, the man he was like Mark Burley out there, getting it and going, no doubt. As it's 2-2 now on Herrera.
Rhett's a little bit more patient.
Yeah. By more patient, we mean he's taking like 3
Absolutely.
seconds. Yeah, exactly. But you're right, it is slowed down a little bit. Line towards third, played on a hop, gonna have to hurry Will Halverson, and he does. Excellent play at the hot corner to retire Herrera.
And good awareness from Bartholomew to dig that one up out of the dirt. Throw came just a bit short, but Bartholomew doing very good. Make sure he got there, make sure he got Herrera out.
And not just the general lack of speed, as Santini takes a slider first pitch strike. Retz has been all fastball slider so far. Who needs too many pitches when you can get him in the right spots, as that fastball catches the top of the zone, and Santini's down 0-2. Retz, the 0-2. Tipped into the glove, and he's got his 3rd strikeout of the contest. I don't hate the big swing, as Calarco takes an off-speed pitch for a first pitch strike. Thomas defense showing him a lot of respect, deep at all 3 outfield spots and in the infield, as Calarco takes just wide. Obviously a guy who has a ton of power. First team All Big Ten last season was Anthony Calarco. Double earlier today was his 6th of the season to go along with 2 bombs. He's worked the counts of 2-1. Dieted nothing but sliders from Retz so far. Showing some respect. Calarco's still looking for a pitch to hit as you see Rustich waiting on deck. Caught the inside corner. Calarco in slight disbelief as the count evens at 2.
It's 3 straight pitches that have found the outside or the inside corners. That one a bit more in the middle, but still very, very tough to hit for that left-handed hitter.
And the big sweeping breaking ball retires the side. Calarco goes over the top of it, and that's 4 Ks for Walker Retz. Couple looking in the first inning, couple swinging in the 3rd, including that one of Anthony Calarco. We head to the 4th, still scoreless on Big Ten Plus. They've had quite the low team ERA themselves. And sure enough, 0-0 through 3 in Game 2 of this doubleheader. That's Farinelli against Richards. One hopper towards short. In the hole, Herrera long throw, and he got him. Rustich able to make the play with a big-time stretch for out number 1. Call out from the dugout, letting him know he got the job done. As we see Herrera ranging into the outfield grass a little bit to make this play.
Adding center fielder, number 1, Avery Laymen.
Looked close. Looked closer, I think, in real time than it did in slow motion, but
Right. It always does,
always
doesn't
does. But a good dig out from Rustich nonetheless.
Yeah, and had to go a long way up the first base line to get it, too. As Laymen shows bunt, takes a strike. Avery Laymen, infield single in the 2nd with a man on and 2 outs. Made Herrera range up the middle. Or pardon me, it was actually Bianchina. Herrera was covering second. Unable to get the force. Wildcat defense hit at the corners, ready for the bunt. Instead, Laymen swings away and touches it foul. That one might have gotten a piece of Santini, too. He's been getting beat up back there. Chatting about it with umpire Brad Snyder. 0-2. Farinelli to Laymen. Outside ball one. Santini tells him, that's where I wanted it. No worries. Knew it wasn't a strike, but hey, trying to get Laymen to go fishing. Another block from J.C. Santini. He's been put to work back there. Avery Laymen, a grad student, has spent 5 years in this program, Minnesota native. First team All-MEAC last year. He stole 43 bases for these Tommies last season to lead what was a heavy stealing team. And he's trying to get the chance to steal one here as he flies this one to right, but camped underneath it is Bashirs, who makes the play for out number 2. And Laymen kept off the pass.
And with numbers like those, that's why you see Michael Farinelli pitching around him, throwing a couple in the dirt. Santini having to catch that one up and away from Avery Laymen. Just trying to pitch around him, force him to swing at the junk. Trying to do your best to keep him from getting an opportunity at stealing bases.
Yeah, that's the thing you got to remember. Laymen may have a 182 batting average coming into today, but last year at the D3 level, he was tearing it up. And sometimes that doesn't immediately translate, but the talent is there no matter what. As Ank squares to bunt and goes right into the Northwestern dugout. A lot of guys up on the rail for the Wildcats. We've heard him very excitable today. Although it is easy to get amped when you won the first game 9-0, I will say. It's understandable that there's been a slight difference in enthusiasm. The 0-1. Grounded back through the middle. Long way for Bianchini to go. Backhand. Turns and throws. What a play. Unreal from Bianchini for out number 3. Ranging up the middle for a highlight reel play. As Retz misses wide with pitch number 1 here. 2-3-4 for Northwestern in the top of the 4th. Steven Rustich struck out looking his first time up. Just saw his first ball of the game. And now he's seen his second. Rustich still trying to get that batting average to creep over the Mendoza line. Working on a 1-for-4 day between both games as he lifts this one to deep left. That's hit well. Vojovic looks up, and that's way gone. Steven Rustich gets the scoring started with his 3rd of the year. The Cats are up 1-0.
And that'll do it. That'll get you over the Mendoza line. Hits like those are what the Wildcats needed single-handedly there from Steven Rustich, hitting more home runs in one plate appearance than this St. Thomas team has hit all season. All the way out in left field.
Oh, the no-hitter, the shutout over in one fell swoop for Retz as that one lifted a bit shallower into center by O'Donnell. Laymen able to camp under it and make the play for out number 1.
Pitch is getting his fastballs down and forcing people to fly them out. Left that one to Steven Rustich just a bit high, and Rustich made him pay. St. Tommy's down once again.
And probably left that pitch to O'Donnell up as well. First couple pitches to Bashirs are up. You know, it's starting to become a little bit of a trend for Retz. First year, trying to work a little bit deeper into this game. Trying to hold on to that command. So that one's grounded sharply foul by Bashirs. And that 4-inch difference between, you know, the middle up part of the zone and the bottom part of the zone can be so important for a pitcher.
And it takes a lot once you lose that to get it back, and it's something that true freshmen like Walker Retz just haven't had the time yet to grow into.
Still got that slider working, though. Called strike 3 on Bashirs. 5th K of the day for the first year. Sharp slider over the top of the zone. As Bianchina coming off the big defensive play. Watches a slider go low. You can see him brimming with confidence. Bianchina, always a pretty confident player. He's got a lot of swag up the middle at second base. But after a big play, it's hard not to get even a little more pumped up. And a huge hack, but no contact for strike 1.
And this is a guy for the Northwestern team that is incredibly selective in what pitches he chooses to swing at. Only 21 strikeouts last season, the least among this team. He wants to wait for his pitch. When he sees it, he swings. Already 8 strikeouts so far this season.
As we see a look at that Northwestern pen, some early action here, as we've already seen plenty of pitches thrown in this game by Farinelli. Kobe Moe, Northwestern's best reliever last year, the junior out of Grays Lake, Illinois, starting to get loose. Trying to make sure he gets some action this weekend no matter what. 3-1 now on Bianchina. Flies this one out towards center. Tracking it back is Laymen. He's camped underneath it. And that will retire the side. But the big, big homer by Steven Rustich to lead off the 4th has a lot of room up the middle in this infield alignment for Northwestern, really cutting off that 5-6 hole against Kalesa, who flies one towards left center field. That's hit well. Chasing it back and looking up and watching it go is Pinkston. Kalesa has hit the first homer of the year for the Tommies, and they've tied it up at 1.
Sam Kalesa truly answering Steven Rustich as best as he can. First Tommy home run of the year, first Tommy home run at the D1 level. Big moment for this team. Huge swing. Michael Farinelli leaving that one out to play over the head of Andrew Pinkston. Again, needs to grow another 30 feet, just like Ben Voyevich, to get that one.
And the sophomore delivers the first home run of his season. You can see he was busting out of the box. I don't think he thought he got all of it. As the changeup gets in against Voyevich for strike 1. And just as quickly as he had gotten the lead, Farinelli gives it up on the 5th hit of the day for the Tommies. The 0-1 to Voyevich is well wide. Kobe Moe still working in that Wildcat pen. Typically this team's closer, but they've used him for multiple innings in all 3 of his appearances so far this season. Kind of that old Andrew Miller role, if you will. Get the biggest outs of the game as the changeup sneaks in for another strike. Santini really leaning on that changeup right now, and why not? It's working. Farinelli looks at the card. Ready's the 1-2. Tip foul. Voyevich grounded to Bianchina and then struck out back in the 3rd. Went down on 3 pitches. Farinelli, long look at the wrist guard. He's figured it out. And it's a liner towards 3rd. Great play. DeLeese down to his knees and able to extend to go get that ball for out number 1.
And he hit straight into the little bit of the shift that the Northwestern defense had there. DeLeese had shifted over just a little bit closer to the second base line than he normally does. That ball hit right at him. Northwestern clearly doing their research. DeLeese, unlike the one that went up the line that he missed, that one, no doubt about it, easy out for the 3rd baseman.
Well, that's the infield movement giving and taking away right there. That pitch misses to Halverson. He's been on twice today. Walked in the 1st, and then that double that you just mentioned snuck it by DeLeese. And you can see DeLeese is probably a step and a half closer to the line than he was last time. Little adjustments. We'll see if it matters. Swing and a miss. Had him fishing. That one was way off the plate. Halverson helps out Farinelli. The 1-1. Slider right over the heart of the plate for strike 2. And Halverson looks discombobulated up there.
He doesn't know what to do now that DeLeese has taken away his third base line.
Right, exactly. It's a great call. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Busted him in. And there's 2 down for Bartholomew. Let's look at that pitch again. Farinelli just brushing it by him.
First baseman, number 27, Charlie.
Down and in. Beautiful spot. Nothing Halverson could do with it. Bartholomew still looking for his first hit of the day. This one's hit well towards left field. Chasing it in and making the play is Pinkston to retire the side. And at Pinkston, DeLeese and Herrera. Pinkston had a nice play to close out the last inning. He walked back in the second before being forced on the DeLeese fielder's choice. And here he shows bunt and takes up and out for ball 1. Rhett sets and deals down and away. 2-0. Walker Rhett's 60th pitch of the game upcoming. And he finds the outside corner with this one. Rhett's hasn't given up too many base runners, just the homer and the walk. Already mentioned the walk by Pinkston and then the homer last inning by Rustich. But he's gone deep in so many counts that it's kept his pitch count a little bit higher. And once again, we've gotten to 2-2 here with DeLeese waiting on deck. Two-two to Pinkston. Called strike 3. The slider catches the top of the zone. And the 6th K of the game for Walker Rhett's.
Has the Big Ten record, actually, for the most walks in a conference season over at Iowa with 32.
You know, a big part of that for Dusty was that when they pitched to him, he could lay the lumber. And so far, a lot of these Northwestern hitters have not quite shown that side of the equation just yet, as DeLeese takes a breaking ball strike to even the count at 1. Dusty Napoleon, of course, a holdover from Spencer Allen's staff, as is everybody else, pretty much. Josh Reynolds taking over this season as that ball is fouled back behind us after Allen stepped down unexpectedly at the end of last season. Josh Reynolds was promoted from pitching coach to head coach. 1-2. This is it. Dusty Napoleon, as you mentioned, stayed in his gig. 2-2 on DeLeese. The Lubbock native takes strike 3. That slider is just freezing Wildcat hitters. The zone. I'm not sure if that's exactly the intention behind it, but the Wildcat hitters are left wondering, well, where'd my high fastball go? As it's 0-1 quickly on Herrera. I was about to say Rhett's has been attacking the zone, and then he bounced that one in. Count evens at 1.
And the issue with that slider is when you're expecting it high and it comes in low, your bat's going to come across the top of the ball. You're going to ground it into the infield.
Yeah, really hard to square that pitch up when it has the kind of movement that Rhett's has consistently had on it. This fastball is flown foul and out of play. Top of the buildings over there down the right field line have been getting a workout. Mentioned 7 Ks for Rhett's, 5 of the looking variety. That just shows you how much Northwestern's hitters have been frozen by a guy who's almost always 2-pitch mixing. That time the breaking ball a little too high. We have seen virtually all fastball slider from Walker Rhett's. He hasn't needed much else. Making some noise for Herrera or the Wildcat bench. The 2-2 bounces in. And he's worked it full. Retz has gone to 2-2 counts 7 different times in this game, but this is the first time he's gone to a full count, interestingly enough. And he gets the strikeout anyways. 3 strikeouts, all on sliders. Retz K's the side. He's got 8 of them through 5. Morris with the single in the walk, as you see there, has reached base 4 times today. Been definitely the most successful hitter for the Tommies. Takes inside right there. Farinelli threw just 19 pitches over the past 2 innings after being over 50 through 3. Getting efficient. This one's chopped foul into the mesh in front of the dugout. 1-1 count. Kobe Mo still loosening. He's been up and down a little bit in these past couple innings. Probably getting ready for a longer outing. Sophomore righty. As Farinelli readies the 1-1. Deep in the hole, tough play, and Herrera throws anyway, but couldn't get it there in time. Once he took that extra step after fielding it, it was over. That's an infield single. 3rd hit of the day, 2nd of the game for Max Morris.
And DeLeese was at full stretch. He was tucked in a little bit in front of that third base. And the gap just opened up in between him and shortstop Patrick Herrera.
Yeah, nothing really either of them could do about that, as you're alluding to. Joe Voss, who has struck out twice, including with the bases loaded back in the 3rd, looks to move the runner along at the very least. Morris with a big lead over at first. Tied for the team lead with 2 stolen bases this year. Mentioned it earlier. Never did run back in the 2nd after the leadoff single. We'll see if that changes this time. Wildcats double play depth up the middle. Rustich holding the runner at first. DeLeese on the baseline and now creeping in at 3rd. The bunt is laid down the first baseline. Farinelli fields his position and flips to Bianchina in time for out number 1, but a successful sacrifice from Voss puts Morris in scoring position. So they get the job done with the bunt in front of Richards, but you gotta wonder, and I would love your take on this, Matthew. When the bottom of your lineup has been as inefficient as this bottom of your lineup has been, is it really worth it to lay that bunt down?
I think you can make an argument for it simply because Max Morris is a threat to steal, and he might get over to 3rd. 2 for 2 this season with his stolen base attempts.
And look at that, wild pitch. It's like he's spoken into existence right there, and that is what they needed. The runner at 3rd now with 1 out and a golden opportunity for Richards to give the Tommies their first lead of the day.
And it's so much easier to score on a sacrifice fly from 3rd than it is from 2nd. And that's what bringing Max Morris around to 3rd base has to do with it. If you leave him on 2nd, you have to get him around 2 bases. You really need a sac fly to the corners of the field. Now you can pull one out to center, have him tag up and score, put the Tommies ahead.
Officially a wild pitch for Farinelli. I think a ball that Santini would love to have back. He had a couple great blocks earlier today, and this one's low. But regardless, certainly a wild pitch, as Farinelli's control has started to desert him a little bit here in his 6th inning of work. Richards has not reached base today, DH'd both games. Looking to turn things around here. Fouled at the plate. Had him way out in front. Richards flew to center back in the 2nd, grounded to short in the 4th. Wildcats conceding the run up the middle here. Interesting decision. We're getting a little bit later in the game, in a game in which the opposing team has pitched very well. We'll see if it comes to that, but right now the corners are in, middle is back, outfield straight up, spread out. As that one misses wide. 3-1 now on Richards. Briggs Richards, another youngster for this team. True freshman. utility player out of Menominee, Wisconsin. Farinelli, the 3-1. Lined out towards right field. And that is going to be caught. Here comes the runner. Throw from Bashirs. He didn't have his body lined up. And the run will score. It's 2-1 St. Thomas. Richards gets the job done.
And that's a run that does not score if Max Morris is at second base. And that's just how important that wild pitch was from Michael Farinelli, because that ball out to right field, you know, as much as Jay Bashirs wants to get that throw in, it's a very tough throw to make from right to home plate with the runner coming from third. It takes a special kind of player to make that throw. And you have more time if the runner's coming from second. When he's coming from third, it has to be inch perfect.
Absolutely. Stepping up is Laymen, shows bunt, and he did not pull it back in time. The other thing to think about there, Matthew, is, you know, that line drive is hit hard enough by Richards that Bashirs isn't able to get his body around the ball. If he hits that a little bit more up in the air where Bashirs can really line up a throw, that gives him a much better chance to cut the runner down. He's got to give some credit to the hitter that time, as that one catches the top of the zone for strike 2. Farinelli, of course, got to be disappointed with the second run scoring, but hoping to work through this inning with no further damage and then maybe turn it over to Mo. Wildcats will need at least a run no matter what. Fouled it off the back of his front foot, did Laymen. He had an infield single back in the second before flying relatively sharply to right in the fourth. Another 0-2. Just wide. Tried to catch that corner with the off speed. See that slider? A little bit wide. Good call. Grounded sharply. Play cannot be made in the hole by Herrera. Wouldn't have had a chance at him anyways. And the 2-out base hit for Laymen puts a runner on in front of Ank.
He picked a spot. DeLeese and Herrera both at full stretch for that one. Last time Herrera can make a play, that one looked like it just went right under his glove. Still a tough throw to make when you have to pop up and go across the infield.
And like we were talking about, Laymen is the guy with the most speed on this team. 43 thieved bags last season. He's 1 for 2 this year, but really dangerous on the paths. Ank at the plate. Laymen leaning heavy. Doesn't go. The changeup misses down and away. The movement is still there right now for Farinelli, but the command has left him a little bit. Josh Reynolds hoping to coax one more out of his graduate right-hander. The 1-0. Got the outside corner that time. Took a little bit off the changeup there. Sounds kind of weird to say, but you can see that one slowing down a little bit as it approaches the plate. I think he knows Ank is not swinging at that pitch, almost always, unless it's dead red. Laymen, smaller lead, but he goes on it. Throw down from Santini is high. He had a shot at him, but not J.C. Santini's best throw. He was 4 for 12 on catching runners before this one. 4 for 13, I should say, because they had a stolen base in the first game, which is very impressive. But that throw was not where he wanted it to be. Pitch was a ball. 2-1 on Ank. And now a runner in scoring position for him. Swing and a miss. There's a big changeup to even the count. Farinelli fighting hard, trying to get through 6 and earn his first quality start of the year. And give his team a chance. Ank standing in. 89th pitch of the day coming here for Farinelli. Checks the card. Checks the runner. Kicks and deals. Shot towards the pitcher, and Farinelli runs it down. Nice play off the bump, and he's able to get through the 6th, but not without giving up the lead. The clutch sac fly from Briggs Richards has given the Tommies their first lead of the day, Coming home to score is Max Morris, and it's 2-1 St. Thomas as we head to the bottom of the 6th on Big Ten Plus.
Already, as you said, only the home run really to show for it. Only 76 pitches in, just very controlled, has good control of his strike zone. He's just doing really well to keep the Wildcats limited in the opportunities that they get to reach base.
Striking a ball with sliders to Calarco. We've seen that pitch feature more and more as the innings have gone on. It's been pretty much 60-40 fastball slider all day long. The 1-1. And that one drops out of the glove of Morris. Was outside anyways, ball 2. Farinelli, by the way, has gone out to the Northwestern pen for some post-outing stretching. Safe to say we're closing the book on him. Looks like Mo for the Wildcats in the 7th. Calarco, a little fister out in the infield. Tough play, but coming on, it hung up a little longer than I thought it would for Ank. If that had gotten down to the ground, would have been tricky. Calarco, who will be feeling that one off the fist in the cold weather, is put away for out number 2. Rhett's going to have to be careful with him here. Slider, chopped foul. Let's look one more time at that bomb from Rustich. You see Rhett's just left it over the middle part of the plate, and Rustich knew what to do with it. We've seen that fastball sneak up to the upper 80s, touch 90 here for Rhett's. But Rustich never wanted to be cowed by speed. Another slider, lined, just foul, twisting all the way. I think Rustich is wise to the slider strategy at this stage, it's safe to say. So what do you go to here? 0-2 count on the dangerous Rustich. Do you go to a 3rd straight slider if you're Walker Rhett's? He does not. Fastball got him off the outside corner, and Rhett's has worked another masterful inning. 1-2-3, and we head to the 7th inning as the Wildcats go to the bullpen. Chasing 1 on Big Ten.
Looking for that save. Has Sam Kalesa up first.
Top of the order for St. Thomas. As Kalesa, who started the scoring for St. Thomas today with this bomb last at bat out to left center. The first home run in Division I for St. Thomas. It will be remembered for a long time. Can Kalesa back it up here as he takes just off the outside corner for ball 2? We've seen a lot of really good sliders today, Matthew. Well, Kobe Mo is known for his slider. It's a nasty pitch. It's what he relied on to great effect last year, closing things down for the Cats. He's been used in a lot of multiple inning spots this season as the 2-0 is fouled back above the building and out of play here. In fact, the Wildcats and Josh Reynolds tried to use him in a very similar situation in about a 3-inning spot against UAB in the first weekend of the season. He wasn't able to get through it. Big spot for Mo as the Wildcats try to sweep this doubleheader. The 2-1. Popped on the infield. Rustich ranging towards the line. Camps underneath it and makes the play. So Kalesa retired for just the 2nd time today, and that'll bring up Voyevich. He's still looking for his first time on the base paths today. 0 for 6 with 3 Ks in the 2 games. Remember, if you weren't here with us, Sean Sullivan, a masterful 7-inning complete game in Game 1, a 2-hitter with 11 Ks. Wildcats won it 9-0 on the back of 2 bombs from Tommy DeLeese, another from J.C. Santini, and really some good hitting throughout the order. Wildcats had 7 extra base hits. And the script has certainly been flipped here in Game 2. The masterful performance has been Walker Rhett's, who's only allowed 1 hit through 6 innings here for the Tommies. Although it was a home run by the man at first base, Steven Rustich. Wildcats have done enough as this bunt rolls just foul for Voyevich. to keep it within 1. Farinelli able to work around 9 base runners to allow just 2 runs in his first quality start in a Wildcat uniform. He did what his team needed to do. Now it's time to see whether Northwestern can make it count in the later innings.
Yeah, they need to do what they did in the first game, which is hit the ball. They need to score some runs. They need to, yeah, because at the end of the day,
right,
Farinelli can pitch all that he wants. Kobe Moe can pitch all that he wants, but if you don't score, you can't win the game. And so Northwestern needs to pick up the bat. They need to get some hits. They need to put some runs on the board.
And there's that trademark slider from Moe. You see the huge amount of side-to-side movement, but it couldn't quite clip the outside corner. Santini with the sides up by the chest there. I don't know if I've seen that before. And that ball's fouled away. He actually might have been giving him the count. I'm not sure. But either way, it was a fastball, and it was fouled. And it's still 1-2. Vojovic did see 8 pitches back in the first before grounding to Bianchina. He's gone to a 2-strike count in all 7 at-bats today. This time he chops it to first and foul. Rustic snags it. Just in case they suddenly decide to change the rules on him, you know. It's happened, well, I was going to say it's happened before, but it hasn't really, so, you know, whatever. You never know. What you were saying earlier, just to go back to that, Matthew, I think, you know, it sounds kind of straightforward to the common ear, but I think what we've seen a lot from Northwestern today, as the 1-2 from Moe is fouled back again, is that the roles have really been reversed. You know, in the first game, I talked a lot about how St. Thomas was the ones who were coming up, not swinging at first pitches, not being aggressive. Now we've seen Northwestern strike out looking 5 times in this game. They haven't been aggressive enough. They haven't been really working to hit the ball, like you mentioned. And I think we've seen that that's been a big problem for them in this game. And they got 3 innings to turn that around, like you alluded to. Another 1-2, grounded to short. Fielded on 3 hops. Herrera over in time for out number 2.
And other than the pitching change from Graham Lobster to Walker Retz, I'm not quite sure what changed in the minds of the Northwestern team, just in terms of the way that they're approaching the plate and approaching their at-bats. Because they're just way more patient. They're not swinging as much. They just need to be more aggressive. They're not swinging as much as they were in the first game, and that aggressiveness is what allowed your players like DeLise and Santini, who are at the bottom of your order to come up big and combine for 5 RBI between the 2 of them.
Absolutely right. Wildcats have walked just once in this game. They did walk 5 times against Lobsher, but, you know, they also had 6 extra base hits against him. As Halverson gets ready at the plate for the 1-0. Moe missed with a slider on the first pitch. Backs it up with a fastball that's fouled away. Halverson walked and doubled in his first 2 plate appearances before striking out in the 5th. Farinelli, by the way, didn't ever give his line. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs both earned, 2 walks, 5 Ks in 89 pitches for a productive outing. Kobe Moe trying to work a 1-2-3 7th. No action in the Wildcat pen, as we expected. Kobe Moe will be in here for a while yet. Slider got him for strike 2. A little premature for me, but that's okay. It was such a nice pitch. You know, I just had to get a little excited about it.
Yeah, I'm sure Kobe Moe will appreciate the enthusiasm nonetheless.
Exactly. The big man. Another slider. This one misses down and out. Kobe Moe cuts an imposing figure, but also a fun figure out there at 6'4". He's got the big-time flow to go along with the goatee, the high pants with the stirrups. He's got it all going on, really. What more could you ask for? 2-2. Soft pop towards second. Bianchina's got it covered. And it's a 1-2-3 7th for Kobe Moe. But now it's time for the Wildcat bats to do some damage. They got 9 outs to work with, chasing 1. After Kobe Moe set down St. Thomas's top of the order, it'll be the Wildcats 3-4-5 coming to bat in the bottom of the 7th. O'Donnell takes a strike. The center fielder has struck out looking and flown to his counterpart. He's actually done that 3 times, 3 flyouts to center today, including game 1. But here he nubs one towards third. Charging and taking it on 2 hops is Halverson. In time at first for out number 1. And that will help Walker Retz hang around a little bit longer. Efficient first out. .364 slugging, and the lefty stands in, takes a first pitch strike right down the plate. Wildcats trying to mix it up against Retz. Bashirs has had a tough day at the plate today. 0 for 2 in this game, as Fontes takes low, and was 2 for 4 with a couple seeing eye singles last game. But now it'll be Fontes with a 2-0 count, pardon me. Does see a strike here from his fellow freshman in Walker Retz. Retz working quick. Misses high. Fastball getting away from him a little bit in this at-bat. It's still B1G waiting on deck for Northwestern. Fontes trying to earn his way to first. And strike called, I believe. The umpire never actually raised his fist, which made it a little bit confusing. Unless that was actually a ball. Maybe we had the count wrong before. I think the stadium scoreboard was potentially wrong on the count before. Anyways, the full count pitch is fouled back. So that was a 2-2 to Fontes that just missed inside, actually. Very near miss for Retz, who has now worked into the deepest count of today. Second full count for the first year. And he misses in. Fontes works just the second walk of the game for the Wildcats, and there's a man aboard with 1 out for B1G. Northwestern, not a team that runs all that much, just 7 for 11 on steals. Check over on Fontes, who has not attempted a steal this year, and he's back safely. Rustich was 1 for 2 in the first game. Stole second successfully on a nice read of a ball in the dirt, which they gave him a steal for, and then got thrown out by a mile at third. Big breaking ball in there for a strike to B1G. He has flown to right, he has flown to center in his 2 at-bats today, in this game. Fontes with a moderate lead at first, maybe not even that. Certainly does not appear to be looking to steal. The 0-1. Bounced way in front. B1G waves Fontes on, and no throw. Retz buried the heck out of that one. And even though Morris stopped it, he had no chance to get Fontes going down to second. You can see B1G is motioning him over before that ball even hits the catcher. And Fontes was moving at about the same time. Really heads-up baseball for Northwestern right there. And a runner is in scoring position. Fontes represents the tying run at second. Go-ahead run in the form of B1G at the plate. 1-1 count with Pinkston waiting on deck. Chopped. Coming over to make the play is Retz. Nice throw over the top to get the out at first. The runner does advance 90 feet. Struck out looking in the 5th on a tough pitch. Here he takes the slider just below the zone. Pinkston does not have a hit yet today, but he's seen the ball very well. 0 for 2 with a sac bunt and a pair of walks. Hit the ball hard on his lone ball and play out that was not a sacrifice. Fouls the 1-0 straight back.
And bar a wild pitch or a passed ball, he has to put this one in play because the sacrifice fly is not on the table. Ruben Fontes needs something to hit the ground in order to run, as he represents that tying run.
Pinkston checks, takes the ball. Northwestern, until this season, had the only black head coach among the Power 5 conferences as Pinkston waits for the 2-1 and takes the strike on the inside part of the plate. Pinkston committed, of course, to that coach, Spencer Allen, before Allen left the program last year. Pinkston still ends up coming as a first year. He's the lone black player on this team under head coach Josh Reynolds now. And the 2-2 is high to the Georgia native. Pinkston, biggest at bat of the season and of the young career of the first year so far. Trying to bring the tying run home from third. Kalesa is very deep in short right field at second base. The 3-2, grounded that way. Kalesa played him perfectly, but bobbles it. Pinkston's running hard, but the out is recorded at first. And Retz works out of trouble. He's through 7 and has kept the Tommies in front. As Pinkston couldn't quite coax this through the right side, we head to the 8th. Still 2-1 here at Evanston. As Mo looking for another 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the 8th. Bunt attempt from Bartholomew. And the big man just sort of tossed his bat at it. That's strike 1. I got to say, with DeLeese already playing at the baseline at third, I don't really get that one. But Mo will take a strike, I suppose. 0-1 is wide. DeLeese is not the type of third baseman who is going to move around too much in terms of playing way back in the infield. He's up there. So it would have had to have been a pretty good bunt for Bartholomew. I think that shows you how disappointed he's been by his performance today. Still looking for his first time on base. He's 0 for 5. Lines this one foul. Left a couple guys in scoring position too. With some timely hitting for St. Thomas, this lead could be much more significant. They have put 9 runners on base to Northwestern's 3. And hold just the 1-run lead. Mo the 1-2. Missed down. And the count evens. The pitch. Fouled. Well, very near us. It's going to end up on the net right above us. That's fun. Want to climb out and get that one, Matthew?
I mean, I think Bartholomew might be able to throw his bat at it.
Yeah, exactly. There's the shot. Guys, don't move that camera, guys. We're not ready for the shot here. As Mo deals another 2-2. Bounce towards first. Mo covering his position. Rustich tosses to him. Big man looking acrobatic as he made that play for out number 1.
He's doing it on the mound, doing it at first base. Another ground out for Bartholomew. Couldn't throw his bat at that one. Kobe Mo able to get over there, record that out.
Kobe Mo, widely regarded by this team. He's a gregarious guy. He's the life of the clubhouse, every clubhouse he's in. You ask any of his teammates, they'll tell you how much fun it is to have Kobe Mo around. And he's a guy who, you know, dedicates a lot to his craft, but is also not afraid to have a little bit of fun out there. Not afraid to show off some of the athleticism, too. Big man can move around, as we saw right there. He falls behind Max Morris, who has not yet been retired in this game. Pair of singles and a walk. He scored the go-ahead run back in the 6th. And he takes wide again. Morris seems like a guy who's really starting to hit his stride this week. Came in it today hitting 182, but he has been on base 5 different times in the 2 games today. Starting to get the bat going a little bit. The 2-0. That misses inside. Suddenly Morris is ahead 3 balls and no strikes. Joe Voss waiting on deck. He has looked lost at the plate so far today. Wouldn't be the worst pitch around of all time. But instead, Mo decides, all right, I'll just deal it over the middle. And makes it 3-1. It was a 14-pitch 7th inning for Kobe Mo, by the way. He's already up to 23. As this one's grounded towards third. DeLeese can't get it, and it gets through the legs of Herrera. It looks like Herrera expected DeLeese to field that ball, wasn't ready for it. I'm not sure if Herrera would have been able to make the play anyways, given that Morris runs well. But DeLeese had this play, it looked like, and then it just snuck by him. And yeah, I got to say, they might give him an error, but I don't think Herrera can make that throw in time to get Morris from that deep in the hole.
Number 17, Joe Voss.
As Voss comes up now. So Mo has what could have been an out taken away. They're going to give the error officially to Herrera. Hard to argue with it. It did go through his legs. Morris leaning towards second as Voss awaits the pitch. He bunted last time as he takes a strike here to move Morris over. 2 trips before that, he struck out.
And you see DeLeese, when Kobe Mo winds up to pitch, he steps in, expecting that bunt. But that side of the field for Northwestern so far in this game, by my count, 3 or 4 times, that there's been a little bit of a miscommunication between DeLeese and Herrera in that gap. And St. Thomas, to their credit, has done a good job of punching balls through there, getting runners on base. And it's just been a matter of having that second hitter right behind them able to produce.
3rd error of the season for the first-year Patrick Herrera. That one misses outside. Now it's 1-1 after the check over from Mo on Voss. Mo ready's the 1-1. Instead, it's another check. Wow, that was pretty close. Quick move from the righty Mo. And he caught Morris leaning just a bit, but not enough to get him. Rustich a little bit slow on the tag, too, although I don't think he would have had him anyways. Tommy DeLeese, by the way, over at third, listed as a utility player, but he spent a lot of time as a primary pitcher earlier in his Northwestern career. And he's made the switch over to pretty much being a full-time infielder now. And, you know, he's athletic for sure for a former pitcher, but you still see times when, you know, his not quite familiarity with playing third base can come to bite Northwestern in general in that infield defense. And couple that with a first-year at shortstop, it's not a lot of experience to go around. Mo leaves the slider up, and it's 2-1.
And it's just a lack of that experience in your positioning and centering yourself where you need to when certain players come up to bat. We've seen time and time again so far today, DeLeese has just been a step too far outside or too far inside from where he needs to be in order to make those plays. And with Herrera, who doesn't have the college baseball experience, one of those has to give. One of those players has to commit to it and has to either step into that place or ask their teammate to come in and cover for them in order to make those kind of plays.
Nobody warming anymore in the Wildcat bullpen, but Kobe Mo is in the spot he does not want to be. 3-1 against Voss, who has not put the ball in play on a swing all game. With Richards waiting on deck. This one's fouled away to the left side. Richards, he has not been on base so far today, but he lined sharply to right last time up in the 6th to bring in the second run for St. Thomas. Seems to be seeing it pretty well. He's waiting in the on-deck circle. Laymen, after him, has 2 hits on the day. So for Mo, this is a big out to get. Morris runs on the 3-2, ball 4. Mo just yanked that fastball down and in, and there's 2 aboard for Richards. Richards waits at the plate. Mo, slider, misses the outside corner. But a lot closer on that pitch. Mo checking the runners. And sliders more outside that time. Morris capable of running, but why would you in this spot? Now, the scoreboard is giving Mo credit for a first pitch strike. I do not believe that is the case. Matthew, you agree there? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think they just corrected it. But
Yep, they just fixed it. Never mind.
first one definitely a little bit more inside than the second
than that
one.
one, yeah.
But umpire definitely called both strikes. Or
Both
both
balls,
balls,
yeah.
pardon.
2-0. That one's outside too. And Mo has lost his grip of the zone. This is something that happened to him a couple times last year. He has struggled at times during his Northwestern career within longer outings to maintain his grip on his command. And 3-0 now on Richards with Laymen, who's had a very good game too, waiting on deck. And Utagawa has slowed in the pen. Strike one on the outside part. And you got to think if you're Josh Reynolds, you're living and dying with your best guy. And that's Kobe Mo. I mean, Utagawa is ready. We'll see. On a walk here, it'll be an interesting decision. But Mo trying to make that a moot point. Double play depth across the diamond for the Wildcats in the infield. The 3-1. Caught the knees. And that is a beautiful catch by Santini. You just have to give him credit for that one. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been a strike without it, but he did a great job on that pitch. Look at the way he brings that up just a little bit. Not his cleanest frame of the day, but I do think he did a good job on it. Full count. Morris ran on the last full count. He does not this time. Grounded towards short. Chance for 2. 6, 4, not 3. The Wildcats can only get 1. A slow bouncer made it very difficult on Herrera and Bianchina. I don't think anybody can really turn that one, but they are able to get 1. I mean, they couldn't have been much quicker. That was a quick turn from Bianchina. But the missed opportunity allows a chance for Laymen with runners at the corners and 2 outs, and Santini calling out the signs from behind the plate. We know St. Thomas is willing to run in a lot of situations. They could try to steal a run here with speed at the corners. And a hitter at the plate in Laymen, who does have 2 hits today but has struggled for most of this season. Misses outside for ball 1, does Mo.
Kobe Mo has worked himself into quite the jam here. Runners on the corners against Laymen, who's 2 for 3 already today.
Signs called out from third for St. Thomas. Mo checks his wrist. Utagawa still warming in left. The runner goes. Grounded towards short. Herrera makes the play and wings it across in time. Mo works himself out of the jam once again. St. Thomas leaves runners aboard, but they do maintain a 2-1 lead. Wildcats with a chance to even it or take the lead in the bottom of the 8th. Coming up after this on Big Ten Plus. Went to Buffalo Grove High School in Arlington Heights, about a 30, 45-minute drive away from Rocky and Bernice Miller Park. Sure that TJ has some fans in attendance as he blows strike 1 past Tommy DeLeese. Concertina has had a very strong start to the season. The side armor as DeLeese squares to bunt, fouls it back for strike 2. As I was mentioning with Concertina, he is in his 5th appearance. He's a hard luck 0-2 because he has a 1.69 ERA, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned in 5 1/3 innings. Has struck out 5 and walked 2. And he drops down for the 0-2 and misses wide. And I think there's something to Matthew, even though he's also a righty, giving the Wildcats a different look than Walker Retz in the different arm angle. It'll be interesting to see how that plays in as Concertina faces the bottom of the order here in the 8th.
Absolutely. He gets his body really low, gets that arm swinging around to the side. Ball rises up almost every time.
Yeah, that time it dropped right back down. Beautiful sidearm slider. Sends DeLeese down swinging for out number 1. Big spot for Livermore, and he lines it to right center. That's going to get down. Over to cut it off is Laymen, but it's a 1-out single for Livermore to give the Wildcats some life with their 2nd hit of the day here in the 8th.
And it's a great matchup for a left-handed hitter because you have the right sidearm coming up into your batter.
Santini stands in. Oftentimes it can be easier to steal against the side armor. And that one catches the outside corner. The reason for that, of course, is because it takes a little bit longer to get through the motion when you have to drop down. We'll see if the Wildcats opt to run. Morris has not thrown out a Steeler this season. Nice pickoff move. But Livermore read it. That'll help with a little bit of a slower delivery. No action right now in the Tommy Penn. Livermore fakes, throw back, not in time, but Morris was hopping back there as that ball missed wide, 1-1. The chess match continues. Tying run at first, 1 out, 1-1 count on Santini. And the pitch. Slider caught the outside corner for strike 2. It's gorgeous from Concertina. Mentioned Arlington Heights native. Buffalo Grove graduate. Went D3. Didn't receive any attention from schools like Northwestern, but now a chance to pitch in a D1 environment here in front of a probably pretty hometown crowd. Runner goes for real this time. Pitch out is on. Throw is there. Tag is as well, and the play is made. Unreal connection between Morris and Ank to cut down Livermore.
And the St. Thomas dugout is furious. It looked like, at least from our point of view, that he might have missed the tag.
Oh, man. I'm not sure if we got the backside angle there, but I don't know if he got that tag in. Now, it was an impressive effort from Ank. But, yeah, you're right. Northwestern not happy with that call. Santini checks. It's a strike anyways. And just like that, Concertina has worked through the 8th. Wow. We head to the 9th. St. Thomas just 3 outs away from their first win against a Big Ten opponent as a D1 school. Nine, 1-2 up for St. Thomas. It'll be Ank taking ball 1 to lead it off. He has 1 hit today in 6 tries, bringing that average up to 118. Not often you hear that. 1-0, catches the corner. Utagawa evens the count. Utagawa checking his card. Needs a scoreless inning here to give the Bats a chance. Fouled back right off the top of the building here next to us. And there's another ball to join the first one. They're having a party over there. 1-2 now on Ank. Lined under the glove of DeLeese. And that time Livermore, who's replaced at shortstop, it's Livermore instead of Herrera, could not recover to the deflection off DeLeese's glove. And once again, the third baseman cannot quite make a very difficult play. And I think Livermore would have been on that ball, but how he could have possibly made that throw, I have no idea. DeLeese wants it back, but it would have been a difficult play for him anyways. And it will almost certainly, yes, it will go as a hit. For Ank, would have been pretty rough to not give him credit for it. Here's Kalesa. He had the big homer back in the 5th to tie the game at the time. St. Thomas took the lead the next inning. 2 for 4. Squares and bunts right towards his dugout for strike 1. Only the 1 error in this game for the Wildcats, Matthew, but the defense has certainly left something to be desired, especially in a game as tight as this one.
Especially, yeah, absolutely. And that play, it's tough for a person who's played at the third base position for their entire college career. But as you said, DeLeese, a utility player, played a lot of his early career here at Northwestern as a pitcher. Even tougher when you make that transition to make those types of plays.
Absolutely.
You just don't have the experience being put in those situations. And there you could see Livermore may have had a chance at it, but the deflection just off DeLise's glove proving to be the deciding factor.
Bunt pulled back, runner going, throw is there. Santini cuts him down. Livermore had to sprint over to get there in time, but the tag is in time, and Ank is retired. Beautiful caught stealing for J.C. Santini. And that is as picture perfect a throw as you will see. Let's look at it again. You see Ank running all the way, bunt pulled back, and look at that throw right on the money.
Yeah, the last one, there might have been questions about if he made the tag or not. That one, absolutely not. Perfect from Santini to Livermore to get that out and take all of the St. Thomas runners off base.
And he puts it right back on. Utagawa does not get the breaking ball to break, and a crushing 0-2 hit by pitch gives the Tommies another base runner. It's this late game execution that has been a huge problem for Northwestern this year. The close game losses, there have been a few, and they have hurt. Wildcats really hoping for a sweep this weekend. And Voyevich hoping to give a much-needed insurance run to the Tommies. Looks like Constantina, by the way, will be coming back for the 9th. No action in the pen. Like we said, Constantina has been really successful out of that bullpen so far this year, even if the record doesn't quite show it. No save, well, the only save is for Lobsher, who is, as we saw in Game 1, the Game 1 starter. As here goes another runner, and the pitch is fouled back. Now, Kalesa got a very good jump there, to be fair. But I would be hesitant to run on J.C. Santini if I was the Tommies after what I just saw. 1-1 count on Voyevich. 0 for 4. He has had a tough day at the dish. Blocked. Santini thought about the back pick, but not quite. 2-1. Wildcat outfield. Bit to the left. And a bit shallow for Voyevich, who has not hit one of the outfield so far today. Infield straight up double play depth. Balk is called. Wow. From the first base umpire, I believe. The runner's not going to second. Oh, no, they called something else. Something written down in the book there. Yeah, no balk. No idea what was going on there. I got to say, I got no clue. Check over, nothing there. Umpire went to his scorecard to write something down. All I saw was Utagawa go to his mouth. He was off the rubber when he went to his mouth. He wiped it off, so nothing illegal there. Certainly no balk. I'm lost, but nothing happened, so it's 2-1. Big fly, but foul and out of play down the left field line. Into the trees over there. Count evens at 2. Utagawa trying to work around some trouble here in the top of the 9th, hoping to keep the 1-run separation where it is right now. Check on the runner. Voyevich was raring to go, but he's back safely. Utagawa fouled again. Voyevich will not go down easy. He's had the longest at-bats consistently today. 8 pitches back in the first. Saw 6 pitches in the 7th. He has been at the plate for plenty of time in this game. No times on base to show for it. Pickoff was close that time. Krustic with the quick tag. Kalesa made it back. Would not be surprised to see him run here. Neither would a Utagawa, as it turns out, because he's picking off again.
And I was convinced that he was going there. It really looked like he had his weight all the way on his right foot. Came back just in time. But the longer Vojevic stays in here, the more and more that Kalesa just wants to run over to second base. It looks more and more tempting.
Grounded to short. Fielded on 2 hops by Livermore. Toss for 1, no chance at a double play. But Livermore does well to get the lead runner over to Bianchina. And there's 1 aboard with 2 down for Halverson. Warming in the pen now for Northwestern is Grant Comstock. Slowly. I think that's a just-in-case thing more than anything else. Livermore, remember, pinch hit last inning, got thrown out stealing after singling, and now he's been involved in a couple plays in the 9th. Packing a full game's worth of action into an inning. As Halverson waits and takes inside for ball 1. See that nice looking ST? I gotta say, I like the logo on the seal for the Tommies. Might have to invest in a new nickname at some point, but the logo's good. Strike at the bottom of the zone to Halverson. For the Wildcats in the 9th, it'll be the top of the order due up. They would love to get there chasing just 1 run. 2 strikes away from doing just that. Remember, Rustich has provided the only Northwestern run this game with the homer back in the 4th. He's due up second in between Calarco and O'Donnell, their 2 best hitters.
And then Bashir's at cleanup if you can get to him.
Well, remember, Bashir's was pinch hit for by Fontes, who is still out in right field, by the way. So it'll be Fontes. Liner up the middle. Nice play. Bianchina has flashed some leather today. Second base ump dove out of there. Bianchina dove in there, and the side is retired. Nice play from Bianchina, and 1 more chance for Northwestern. Anthony Calarco has had a slow day by his standards especially. 1 for 7 in the 2 games with just the 1 double and a run scored. Northwestern, if you're just joining us, as Calarco takes a strike. Won the first game of this twin bill in a 7-inning game, 9-0. Behind a dominant performance from Sean Sullivan and some great work from the bats, the script has been flipped. Walker Retz in line for the win after 1 hitting the Wildcats and allowing just 1 run through 7 innings as Calarco fouls this one away. A very solid start on the other end from Farinelli for Northwestern, but gave up the 2 runs, and so far that's been enough. Northwestern trying to come back here in the bottom of the 9th against Shavy. 0-2 on Calarco. Has not looked comfortable all afternoon in the batter's box. Here he fouls another one away down the left side. These swings are looking pretty good. So far, 3 fastballs from Shavy. Haven't seen the off-speed just yet. You know, it's such a different role, closing than starting. The same types of players do both, especially at this level. But it's just very different mentally as a pitcher. How will Shavy adjust as Calarco cracks this one high and deep to left towards the track, circling under it and making the play, and then dropping it. Oh, wow. The ball popped out of the glove of Vojevic. Unreal. And Calarco finds himself at second. What a mistake by the Tommy left fielder. I mean, this one was up there. It was high in the air, but it looked like Vojevic was under it, and then, oh my goodness, that ball was in his glove, Matthew. From Vojevic, so E7, and suddenly the Wildcats have the tying run at second with big Steven Rustich at the plate. Strike 1 at the top of the zone. What a tough spot for Shavy on the bump to be put in.
And I have to agree with you. I don't think I've ever seen an error quite like that. I've never seen the
Because
ball.
that was fully in his glove.
I've never seen the ball go that deep into someone's glove and still
And
pop
it's not
out.
like it went deep and popped out immediately. It was in there for a solid half second before popping out. Foul ball. And you know what that makes me think? It makes me think maybe he hasn't worked in his glove enough. I mean, when that kind of thing happens, it makes me think that your glove is not properly, oiled, whatever you want to say. Wow. Rustich with a chance to make St. Thomas pay. 0-2, though, from Shavy, who has thrown just one ball so far. Slider misses just wide. Rustich does well to watch it go. Ethan O'Donnell waiting on deck, hoping for a chance to maybe win the game. Winning run at the plate in the form of Rustich. Last year set the record for home runs by a Northwestern batter. He's got 3 already this year, including 1 in the 4th inning. And the wind is blowing out towards left. Small lead from Tanner at second. The pitch. Grounded up the middle. And through. Tanner's around third. He is going to score. The Wildcats have tied it in the bottom of the 9th.
And Steven Rustich has absolutely showed up for this game. Home run early. Huge RBI single here to bring home Luke Tanner.
This season. O'Donnell showing bunt. Bunt gets it down towards the pitcher. Wow, he had to play it. Oh, he dropped the ball. Unbelievable. Shavy went to throw it and just slipped out of his hand. Oh, the Tommies are coming apart at the seams.
And for what the scoreline says, 2-2, it says that this game is close. But in all honesty, St. Thomas has no one to blame but themselves. Ben Voyevich with a huge error early in this inning. Devin Shavy right there. That ball falling out of his hand.
And when we look at this again, Matthew, you're going to see Rustich would have been out at second. If he's looking at second, he would have had him there. And now, I mean, you feel for Shavy, right? You gave up a fly out, what should have been a fly out, a ground ball up the middle, single, and then a sack bunt. He did it himself with the error, but in at the corners are St. Thomas. They're wheeling the pickoff to second. Is there. So St. Thomas has shown their bunt coverage. They're going to bring the third baseman Halverson in. They're going to have Ank cover the bag at third, and they're going to have Bartholomew try to stay home at first base on a bunt. Now, Fontes was showing bunt in that situation. Makes sense. Try to move the runners up and give Bianchina a chance. And he shows bunt again. Rustich at second. They're throwing another pickoff, but Rustich just doesn't have much of a lead out there. I mean, they're trying to work that catcher drops the glove, shortstop rushes behind pickoff play, but it doesn't really work when the guy's only 8 feet off second base.
And I can't imagine Steven Rustich will try to steal here. Not with 0 outs.
No
Not
chance.
with 2 runners
No
on
chance.
base.
I mean, they're going to bunt almost certainly, I would think. And now the defense is a little bit back, and it looks like they're not going to wheel now unless they really book it. Bunt pulled back by Fontes. Doesn't matter. Ball 1. So right now, the way the defense is configured, and the chess match, again, continues to be so interesting, now they're wheeling the other way. They're going to come in behind first and potentially, this is tough to pull off, but potentially have Halverson backtrack to third to make the play there if they have a chance at it. Still 1-0 on Fontes. First year at Northwestern. Shows bunt, pulls it back. Fontes looking for his first walk-off in a Northwestern uniform. At this point, he'd certainly take a walk, though. 2-0. He goes for the bunt. Down the line, and it's going to roll foul. The 2-0 bunt attempt, Matthew. I know you want to get that runner 90 feet away. I know with 1 out you want to do it. But, man, it puts you in a really interesting situation. Although Bianchina on deck has done such a great job of putting it in play all day and really for his entire Northwestern career. You got to feel confident were he to come to the plate in this situation with a man on third and one out.
Because all you need with a runner on second with a runner in scoring position is 2 sac flies out to outfield, and you win the game.
That's right. Fontes is showing bunt again. Of course, a bunt would constitute one of those sacrifices as he takes high. And you know what else would constitute one of those sacrifices? A walk. It's 3-1. Fontes took a walk back in the 7th. Big lefty waiting at the plate. Showing bunt one more time. Pulls it back, takes ball 4. And Shavy has walked him loaded here after the 2 errors, the single by Rustich, and now the walk to Fontes. Northwestern is 90 feet away from walking this one off. Time call to the plate. Rustich, of course, the runner at third for Northwestern. It's Bianchina, who tripled all the way back in the first inning of game 1, and walked and scored in the 5th. Trying to pay it off in the 9th of the game 2 as he takes ball 1. And Shavy really starting to look rattled up there on the mound.
And St. Thomas made their bet, and they have to lay in it. They bring in their ace. They put him in the 9th inning. They bring him in as a closer with the full intention of having him get that save. And Northwestern has brought the heat. A couple of errors, yes, but they've put the ball in play.
But this is a pop-up on the infield. Not going to be deep enough to get Rustich home. Nearly losing it again. Out in left was Voyevich, who came way in to make that play. It's so tricky with the infield drawn in. Who's had a chance with a man on third and 2 outs his last time up, back in the 7th, and grounded sharply to second. Here, the pitch. Slider, called strike 1. That one caught the inside part of the plate against Pinkston. Again, he still does not have a hit today. He's 0 for 3. He has 2 walks, a sac bunt, a strikeout looking, a sharp grounder to second, and a sharp fly out to center. You can see he didn't love that call, as now a conversation at the mound, and I think maybe the middle infield could play for 2 here. They've backed up a step or so from where they were, but it looks like they're still going to be playing for the play at home. With 1 out and the bases loaded, Kalesa and Ank both at the baseline, but have to hurry on a ground ball. Shavy readies the 0-1. Strike 2 on the outside corner. And now Pinkston is in the hole. DeLeese waits on deck, bases loaded, 1 out, and that was a picture-perfect pitch with all the pressure on from Devin Shavy. Trying to work through a disaster for St. Thomas in the bottom of the 9th. And he steps off. That looked like a balk. It was a balk. He stepped with the left foot first, and it's a walk-off balk. Unbelievable. Devin Shavy stepped off the rubber with the wrong foot, and Northwestern has walked it off here at Evanston. Unbelievable. I've only ever seen it one other time, a walk-off balk, and that'll do it. The umpires are walking off the field. Watch the way he stepped off. He stepped with the left foot first, and then the right, and that's a balk, and that will do it. What a way for Northwestern to sweep this doubleheader.
I mean, what a crazy game and what a crazy ending. Devin Shavy did step his foot off. So it's a good call from the umps. Heartbreaking for St. Thomas. Northwestern won't care. 2 wins, 2 games. Huge weekend for the Wild.